attend the lecture. This is remarkable, but this is really not just a lecture. I am indeed very happy to be here. I'm overwhelmed actually to be here in this remarkable edifice. I'm overwhelmed to be in Leiden. The more I know of it, the more I like it. And you're very lucky to have such a wonderful mayor, who's already an old friend since last night. Before I start, I would like to thank a few people who've been really wonderful. First of all, I'd like to thank, let me pronounce this well. It's Hein, not Hein, right? It's Hein van Orden, who is the chief of protocol of the municipality, who's been extremely hospitable and kind and wonderful. And I'm very grateful for his friendship as well. But of course, I would like to thank, in addition to Mr. Mayor, Mr. Lieutenant, and the chairman of the board of the Medical Center, Professor Redford, and the chairman of the board of the university, Mr. Paul and Hanan. And all the old friends that I have seen again in this visit, it's very big visit. It's a very special opportunity for me. And of course, I had a remarkable meeting with some students and faculty at noon today, and I thank them. Questions. Today, I certainly address you with gratitude and with humility. I'm deeply touched and I'm deeply honored to have been invited to deliver this lecture, the 2011 Freedom Lecture in this fair city of Leiden, whose motto is for the sake of liberty. Certainly a noble principle and value, the most basic, right, and objective, one which you have gained 5.5 centuries ago, and one which we are still struggling for. We still languish as Palestinians in captivity, under the brutal military occupation, in the state of multiple siege, particularly in Gaza, but also throughout the West Bank and Jerusalem in particular. We're still deprived of our most fundamental rights and freedoms, and we are still bereft of the protection of the law, because Israel is still treated as a country above the law, exempt from the rule of law, treated with exceptionalism and entitlement. And I'm saying that because I think for Israel to gain this recognition, it has to be treated like another country, like another state, without exceptionalism, and without the immunity that allows us to act with impunity to persist in an illegal and brutal occupation. That is, of course, definitely the peace and stability of the whole region. And the military occupation is the most pervasive and intrusive form of oppression and injustice. It permeates every aspect of our lives, every aspect, from siege to incursions to checkpoints, hundreds of checkpoints where you are stopped, you are searched, you are deleted, you are turned back. And this is inside the Palestinian territory, with an apartheid wall being built, and of course we call it the war of confiscation and annexation. Confiscation of land, building and expansion of settlements, annexation and transformation of Jerusalem, the whole city of Jerusalem is being transformed, its culture really distorted, its realities, its histories, even names of places and streets and areas now are being changed and long-term. Ilan Pacha, I don't know that his book, The Cleansing of Palestine, describes as displacement, replacement paradigm, that more people have been displaced and replaced, including the culture and the names of the history. Of course, we're carrying on with revocation of IDs, expulsion of people, home demolitions, humiliation, and so on. This is an overall system of oppression. The occupation does not lead you to lead any kind of normal life, personally, individually, and collectively. And of course, this dates back to 1947 43, 47. The partition plan was adopted, but it was given for 55% of historical Palestine. In 1948, as a result of the war, Israel gained 22% more of historical Palestine, and in 67 occupied the remaining West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza. But we, as a people, we were the people who became victims of revenge. We were told that we did not exist. I'm sure you heard this. That ours was a land without a people, or a people without a land. Many people believe that, actually, even though we existed and we were there and we tried to present our narrative and our reality and the fullness of our humanity, but people found it very convenient to think that either Israel made the present movement, which was against anything in history, or that Palestine was empty and Israel came and filled it up. But anyway, we were, in that sense, we were a nation that was stated for what I call national occupation. People who somehow were invisible, cast outside the course of history. We were told we didn't exist. We were, as I said, slated for national denial. In 1948, most of us were uprooted, dispossessed, and dispersed. And of course, in 1967, the rest of us came under brutal military occupation. So we had two types, human injustice, and this is a very historical injustice of expulsion and exile on the one hand, and oppression and occupation on the other. And these are the effects of the separation of freedom. Because for those in exile and refugee camps, the reality is to return, and the right to return is to deny or stand with freedom to go home, and the freedom to exercise your right as a human being, as a member of the national collective. This has been denied, the same way our people under occupation. Anyone has been denied, including our people who live within our land and any part of life. And this has been the case most of my life. Most of my life. My two daughters also lost their childhood, as they say, and their youth under occupation, and now they're actually. That's why your invitation to me today resonates with me personally, individually, as well as with the Palestinian people as a whole. Because freedom is more than precious to people who have experienced and lived its absence firsthand, whether as individually or collectively. And you here today have dared to launch a global human conversation as an inclusive and expansive affirmation of our common humanity. And this, for that, I personally truly grateful. Now, for more than 2 decades, we have been engaged in a quest for peace with justice. And you were there. When we started the search for peace and justice, for freedom and dignity, for enhancing and implementing our rights and determination and sovereignty, to extricate ourselves from a 44-year-old occupation, but also to resolve all outstanding issues and long-standing grievances and injustices dating back to 48 and before, primarily, of course, the rights of the refugees. We have solved very openly ending the occupation, the evolution of occupation, and the evolution of statehood. And we said this is nation building and peacemaking are two parallel interdependent processes that have to be pursued simultaneously. Instead, we ended up with a peace process that became a process for its own sake, with lots of prolongation and stalling, time being used in order to create facts unilaterally on the ground that are prejudicial to the outcome of talks, particularly the expansion of settlements, annexation of Jerusalem, and so on. The process ended without peace sponsorship, without arbitration, without accountability for Israel or protection for the Palestinians, and it became subject to power politics. And of course, the strategic alliance between Israel and the US came to play in terms of the talks and the negotiations. And therefore, the power imbalance has exploited against the Palestinians and in favor of this type of needless perpetuation that allowed for even more pain to take place. But most visibly, we saw this alliance translated in Netanyahu's speeches in Washington in May, I'm sure you remember, and Obama's backtracking, plus this congressional adulation and submission to the most extreme militaristic and ideological hardline government in Israel. Here you have the foreign prime minister deliberately insulting the president in the White House, lecturing, and so on, and at the same time not just getting away with it, but going over his head to the Congress and getting recognition and applause for things that have nothing to do with American politics, like, wanting to keep Jerusalem united, the capital of Israel, or wanting to keep troops in the Jordan Valley. Well, is it any of Congress's business to stand up and clap when Netanyahu says, I want to break the law willfully and deliberately, and you as American lawmakers have to accept this? Or that I have insulted your president